Day 525 of the Ukrainian War Map, also known as the Russo-Ukrainian War. Juzzy here, and today is a super quick update as I take a simplified and down-to-earth approach to some of the most important happenings on the ground in Ukraine. So starting off, we'll take a quick look at those Russian losses, as currently Russia is sitting on more than 247,000 military personnel losses, which represents an additional 540 in the past 24 hours. Then as for hardware losses, so 1 tank, 8 APVs, and an absolute gigachad level of artillery systems numbering in 27 in amount. But then we'll head back across to the map today, as just yesterday, 2 Belarusian helicopters, an Mi-8 and an Mi-24, violated Poland's airspace for what Belarus announced as training exercises. So Poland also informed NATO of the airspace violation, which led to a summons charge to Belarus requiring an explanation. But I'll say, if Belarus and the Wagner forces stationed around there also keep dicking around like that, it's going to get decidedly ugly. Also, the US ambassador has meanwhile warned that any attack on NATO by Wagner will be treated as an attack by Russia. And after all of this just recently happening, the president of Belarus, so Lukashenko, or Uncle Luka as I affectionately call him, now claims he joked about Wagner planning to attack Poland a couple of weeks ago. And perhaps he realized things got a little bit too real for his comfort. And I don't blame him, as he probably wants to maintain his luxurious dictatorship lifestyle, if he can. Then moving into the main map, as overnight, Ukrainian air defenses shot down 23 Shahed drones, most of them over the Kyiv and Odessa regions. And as for Kyiv, well, Kyiv authorities said they intercepted all of the drones, but debris from wreckage still took their toll on some buildings. But I've gotta say, it's interesting how for the recent Kyiv and Moscow drone attack occasions, that Kyiv's Patriot and NASAMS were able to shoot down all of the drones, whereas Moscow's S-400s and Pantsirs shot down 0% of those recent Ukrainian drones. And that's interesting because we really all did largely feel just a couple of years ago that Moscow's airspace was amongst the most air defense protected airspaces in the entire world. So Russia would have been better off not invading Ukraine, thus not putting on display all of its military deficiencies. It's truly remarkable to think of, really. Then we'll head across to the Donbas, as Russian forces attempted counterattacks in Klishchivka, so just south of Bakhmut, and they did so, or attempted to do so, to regain lost positions. But of course we're unsuccessful and had to withdraw. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces continued to dislodge entrenched Russian forces positions south of Andrivka as well. But also for the region, on this photo here, we can see smoke rising over the Donetsk railway station. So around this location there, which is strategically significant given that these lines assist supplying Russia's front Donbas lines, and the south for that matter too. Then just briefly moving down, as explosions were reported in Mariupol. So Russian sources also acknowledged that it was storm shadows as being used in these strikes. But otherwise we have some limited information thus far on the targets. Then we'll head up to the southern front lines proper, as Russian forces also attempted counterattacks at Staromyorska in an attempt to regain those lost lands from about 4 days ago. However, Russian attempts failed and they once again had to withdraw from this region. Then moving right down on the map, we have first images of explosions at an airbase in Vardiska, which is just north of Simferopol. So zoom across here, and there we go. Then also, about 18 hours ago now, explosions were reported near Balaclava on the southern edge. As it was said, a Ukrainian drone was targeting Russian Navy bases in the area. And if you zoom in, you'll see the ports right there. Zoom right in fact. There we go. But then next door in the Oblast of Odessa, there was damage at an Odessa grain terminal of all places, in Izmail. So we need to really zoom in to find this one here. And this all happened as a result of a Russian drone attack. I'm actually not even that far south enough. So zoom in right here, which is so close to Romania. And if Russia continues to skirt on the literal edge enough times, it's guaranteed to hit another country apart from Ukraine, that is. In fact, there were some debris hits into Poland that time, about 9 months ago. Oh, and I do believe this footage here was actually taken from Romania, across the river. Then I'll round it all up today, guys. Not exactly much news, but I'll just keep it really brief and start with another Russian military mobilization blunder segment. Now, this one is a two-parter. So a couple of days ago, immediately after Russian legislation raised the required enlistment age from 27 to 30 years of age, a Russian woman started breaking down when her husband received a military summons. And someone said to me, Juzzy, she shouldn't worry because Russia is winning and that's why they need more soldiers. There couldn't possibly be any other reasons. Darn right. And being the two-parter that this segment is today, so dissatisfaction is rising in Russia as 9 military enlistment officers throughout Russia were hit by local partisans in what appeared to be as a direct response to these newly instated Russian enlistment laws. And these actions were not always done, for instance, by, say, a 27-year-old man. In fact, younger women and older retired men got in on the action as well. So you can see it's going to be difficult, politically speaking, more and more now, for Russia to go full-blown mobilization or even an additional partial mobilization call up at that. The support just isn't what it used to be. Then in a quick small funny to round it all off today, guys, so take a look at this photo. So what is Russia doing with their vehicles now? Now, for anybody wondering, the makeshift armor, the discs you see up there, up the top, are from an agricultural machine called a cover crop, or a plow machine. So, likely scrap metal obtained from a farmer. Or for me to attempt to re-communicate what I just said, the Russian army is using old, used scrap metal discs as armor on their trucks. That's how low it goes for them. But also on top of that, they've got the Soviet symbol of the hammer and sickle on one of the trucks, which to me is just embarrassing, especially given that the Soviet Union did collapse, which Russia and Russians just always seem to forget. Oh, but even worse than that, it's not even drawn right. Some Soviet patriot that guy was. So that'll be it for today, guys. A little bit of a shorter video, but better than nothing. That's what I like to say now. So thanks for watching. Please leave a like and a comment. Subscribe if not already. Really do appreciate it. Absolutely. And I do hope to see all of you guys there in the next one. Cheers.